My husband has been hiding things from me. He took all our joint assets to invest in stocks. As a result, we lost everything. He also incurred high-interest debts. After the debt issues erupted, he knelt down and begged for my forgiveness. He voluntarily proposed to leave with nothing. I considered the feelings between us as a couple. I chose not to divorce. Instead, I decided to sell my eggs to pay off the debts. I had just come out of surgery. I was still in a coma. I vaguely heard him talking on the phone with Victoria. Victoria asked him, "When can you divorce that yellow-faced woman?" I didn't expect her to know about my high-interest debts and still not let go. "Dear, please be patient a little longer. I will definitely get a divorce as soon as possible." Ryan once again proposed to divorce, and he was willing to leave with nothing. I eventually agreed. We got the divorce certificate. Once the seal was stamped, the matter was settled. I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Ryan suddenly hugged me. His voice was a bit choked. "I'm sorry, Emily, it was my impatience. As a result, we lost all our savings. Now I have nothing left. All the debts are on me. I promise those debt collectors won't bother you again. Emily, you have to trust me. As long as I handle these debts well, I will definitely give you the grandest wedding." Ryan's tears were warm. They fell on my shoulder. What he said sounded very sincere. His feelings also seemed very real. If I hadn't accidentally overheard him on the phone with Victoria, I might still be kept in the dark by him. Now, I can't tell which are real and which are fake. While I was confused, I suddenly heard the sound of an engine getting closer. Soon, a Porsche Cayenne stopped next to me and Ryan. The passenger window rolled down. A vibrant woman with a bright smile appeared before us. Ryan heard the woman's voice. He was immediately stunned. Then he pushed me away. "Ryan, there's something urgent at the company. Come back with me for a moment," Victoria said. The movement was too abrupt. My lower abdomen felt a bit painful from the jolt. My complexion also turned a bit pale. "What's going on?" Ryan avoided my gaze. He kept a distance from me. He put away the divorce certificate. He said, "She is my direct supervisor. She told me she has a way to help me recover the scammed stocks." I wanted to talk a bit more. Ryan had already hurriedly gotten into that woman's car, sitting in the passenger seat. The window wasn't fully closed yet. I was unwilling to accept this. I quickly took a few steps forward. "Is there anything I can help with, Ryan? I also hope to help you." Victoria was driving the car, impatiently honked the horn. "You're just a housewife. Can help Ryan with something. Don't overthink it. Just do what you need to do." Notice the atmosphere between me and Victoria was a bit tense. Ryan quickly tried to smooth things over. "Emily, you should go back and rest well. It'll take time to explain the company's matters to you. Trust me, as long as we can recover the money from the stocks, everything will be fine in the future." I was just about to speak, hadn't made a sound yet, when I heard the roar of the Porsche Cayenne's engine. Immediately after, it shot out like an arrow. The sound of the Porsche Cayenne's engine was deafening. My ears were ringing. I was very close to the car door. My hand almost touched the car window. Victoria suddenly stepped on the gas. I almost fell to the ground. Even though I wasn't hit by the car, I was also thrown to the ground by the sudden pressure inertia. Hiss! A sharp pain radiated from the palm of my hand all the way to my spine, finally concentrating in my lower abdomen. Suddenly, a fine, dense pain came from my lower abdomen. It felt like it had solidified into a hard lump. The intense pain almost made me faint. The sticky pain in my lower body made my face turn pale instantly. On the consent form for selling eggs, I signed a liability waiver acknowledging all risks. I knew in my heart, selling eggs can cause significant harm to the body. But for him, to pay off those heavy debts, I had to do this. I originally thought I was the lucky one. I still held a glimmer of hope, but the increasingly thick feeling in my lower body, along with the pain in my lower abdomen, like being pricked by needles. It felt as if mischievous little ghosts were mocking my self-deception and ignorance. It really hurts. I watched the taillights of the Porsche Cayenne gradually fade away. I tried to open my eyes wide. I called 120 when I woke up again. Everything in front of me was pure white. I smelled the familiar scent of disinfectant. I felt a bit uneasy inside. To help Ryan pay off his debts, I found an advertisement for selling eggs on the door of the women's restroom. It said that selling one egg could earn $500,000 if it were in the past. I would definitely know that this is illegal. It is also harmful to the body. I wouldn't even think about it. To help Ryan pay off his debts, I ultimately dialed that number. The smell of disinfectant in the hospital reminded me of those unpleasant memories, the cold operating room, and the puncture needles stained with blood on the stainless steel tray. My memories were gradually occupied by these terrifying things. It almost made me feel nauseous. Just when I was about to be overwhelmed by fear, the phone suddenly rang. Dr. Emily, the compensation for selling eggs is a total of $500,000. It has already been transferred to your account. Please check if you want to continue cooperating. We welcome you at any time. This call suddenly brought me back to that day of despair. My lower back started to ache. My lower abdomen also felt increasingly uncomfortable. Just then, a nurse walked into the ward. She noticed that something was off with me. She quickly put down the film in her hand and helped me adjust the position of the ventilator. The doctor said, "Dr. Emily, your physical condition is not ideal. It is advised to try to keep your emotions stable." Then, he told her the diagnosis results. Cervical intraepithelial neoplasia grade 3. The nurse picked up the CT film she had just put down again. She sighed and said, "If you don't pay attention to your health, cancer will eventually come knocking at your door." I looked at the diagnosis report that stated high-risk HPV infection. I'm feeling particularly upset. The nurse asked me, "Dr. Emily, you want to be hospitalized or rest at home?" The nurse handed me the diagnosis. She sighed gently again. I forced a smile. My face looked a bit pale. "Thank you. Please help me with the medication. I want to go home. I find it hard to believe that I have cancer at such a young age." So I asked the nurse to give me another full-body checkup. The nurse is used to people like me who can't face reality. She didn't refuse me. She directly took me for a comprehensive physical examination. I hazily returned to the ward. I don't even know when I was discharged, in a daze. I returned to the marriage house that Ryan and I shared. I carefully examined every detail in the room, looking at the furniture we had carefully chosen together when we got married. This marriage house was completely according to our preferences. It's all arranged little by little, from the arrangement on the walls to the placement of the small decorations. All of it was carefully planned by us when we just got married. I look around this room filled with our sweet memories. Unknowingly, tears start to fall. At this moment, I noticed that the drawer of the vanity had been tampered with. The family heirloom jade bracelet inside is missing. Only a cheap glass imitation remains. My phone suddenly vibrated. Victoria updated her moments. She posted a status. Someone insisted on sending a gift. How cliché. In the photo from Moments, Victoria is wearing the jade bracelet I gave her. Her fair wrist is very noticeable. In the photo, her hand is resting on Ryan's thigh. I stared at this photo. I was in a daze for a long time. Ryan has deceived me too many times. I can't even remember them all. I held my phone and stared blankly. I don't know how long it has been, until it got dark. There was a noise at the door. Although we are already divorced, he also chose to leave with nothing. This house is now registered in my name. It counts as my personal property now. However, according to him, our divorce was just to temporarily separate our debts. He came to find me with a bouquet of flowers. His expression wasn't very good. He held me tightly in his arms with a pained look. "Emily, why are you still awake so late? Your health isn't very good. If I don't come back in the future, you should rest early." I saw that Ryan's hand holding the flowers wasn't wearing a wedding ring. If it were in the past, I would definitely choose not to pursue it anymore, but now I don't plan to endure it any longer. "Ryan, where's your ring?" Ryan clearly didn't expect me to suddenly mention the ring. He was momentarily stunned. After a while, his expression changed, staring at my pale face and sunken cheeks. "Emily, why do you look so haggard?" I pushed away his hand resting on my shoulder. I said faintly, "It's nothing, just a bit tired." Ryan listened to me. Immediately, he hugged me tightly with concern. He asked softly, "Emily, do you blame me for being too busy with work, not having time to be with you?" "Emily, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have been so foolish to invest all our savings. You trust me. I will earn the money back as soon as possible, and then propose to you." Ryan spoke so affectionately. His eyes were full of me. He really looked sincere, but the unfamiliar scent of his perfume made me face the reality. Right now, I feel like I've accidentally swallowed a fly. It's especially uncomfortable. At night, I lay in bed with Ryan. He quickly fell asleep. Once he started snoring, I quietly got out of bed. I found his phone hidden in the shoe cabinet's compartment. The WeChat pin chat shows 99 unread messages. Victoria's profile picture is a photo of a hotel bed with a river view taken from above. The latest message was time-stamped at 23:07. She wrote, "Ryan, after the meeting tomorrow, let's meet at the usual place," and then she sent another message. "Don't forget to bring that bottle of 82 Lafite. Your wife probably hasn't tried it, right?" I scrolled through the flirty conversations in the chat history. Suddenly, I remembered that night when it rained heavily last week. Ryan came back at 2 in the morning. He said he was out drinking with a client, but his suit was spotless. There were no signs of being wet from the rain at all. At that moment, when he kissed my forehead, a strand of chestnut-colored curly hair peeked out from his collar. That strand of hair looked exactly like the one in Victoria's selfies on her social media. Right beside me, Ryan is still snoring evenly, even though it's not winter. I feel cold all over. I just turned off Ryan's phone. My own phone screen suddenly lit up. It displayed on the screen. A wedding ring is just an ornament. If you're not loved, it's better to exit early. Waste should be placed in the trash can. Victoria sent me 2 text messages. She also took a photo of Ryan's ring lying in her trash can. I immediately lost the thought of sleeping with Ryan. I walked barefoot to the sofa in the living room. 3 in the morning. I curled up in the corner of the sofa. The cold light from the phone screen stung my eyes. Ryan is secretly chatting on WeChat. Those records are like a dull knife, cutting into my already scarred heart time and again. Every explicit word in the chat, every ambiguous interaction, feels like a big hand tightly gripping my heart. It almost took my breath away. In Ryan's phone, it shows his intimate chat history with Victoria. And in my phone, there are those provocative photos sent by Victoria. The timestamps of each photo all match up with the times Ryan said he was working late. Each photo is so clear that it makes it hard for me to breathe. I bit my lower lip tightly, my eyes fixed on the phone screen without blinking. Those words pierced my heart one after another. The bitterness inside me almost completely consumed me, until I tasted a metallic rust flavor in my mouth. I forced back the tears that were about to overflow. Outside the window, the moonlight filters through the sheer curtains, spilling onto the floor. It casts a cold white glow. With the help of this moonlight, everything in the room can barely be seen clearly. When I looked down, I could clearly see my arms covered in pinpricks. The bruises from the injections for egg donation haven't faded yet. I'm doing this for Ryan. I'm willing to sacrifice my health to sell my eggs. Ryan gave the remaining money to Victoria, so she could buy bags and luxury items. I'm working hard for that meager income. My dignity is being trampled on, while they are in a hotel suite at midnight, raising their glasses and drinking. It's truly ironic. I've risked my life for his debts, yet he uses the money I earned with hard work to give another woman a luxurious life. Just thinking about this, my phone suddenly vibrated, interrupting my thoughts. The hospital sent a health check message. "Dr. Emily, your health check report is ready. Preliminary assessment indicates possible cancerous changes in your body. Please come to the hospital for a follow-up as soon as possible." A short line of text, yet it gave me a chill. The word "cancerous changes" on the report presses down on my heart like a venomous snake. It kept me awake all night. I put Ryan's phone back in its place. A person sat on the sofa. My mind was blank. I didn't know what to do. I sat there listlessly all night until dawn. After Ryan woke up, he found that I wasn't by his side. He saw that my complexion was getting worse. Without caring about anything else, he hurried back to the bedroom. He took a blanket to cover me. He said, "Emily, you don't look well. I'll accompany you to see a doctor." "Okay," I smiled faintly. I said to Ryan, "I don't need to see a doctor. As long as you're by my side, I can get better." Even though I had anticipated Ryan's decision, I still wanted to try again. Just then, Victoria called me. Ryan quickly made a decision. He said to Emily, "I'm sorry. There are too many things going on at the company. I really can't get away. You have to trust me. Okay, just give me a little more time. Wait until I finish paying off my debts. I will definitely be with you every day." As soon as Ryan finished speaking, he didn't even look at me once. He just walked straight out the door. In less than 5 minutes, Victoria sent me a message. As expected, waking up in the morning and having a glass of Lafite with him, it's truly delightful. Victoria not only sent me a message, she also posted an update on her Moments. In the photo on Moments, Ryan is holding Victoria. With a look of complete satisfaction on his face, their eyes met. They looked just like a couple. The crisp sound of glasses clinking in the photo seemed to come through the screen. It hit me right in the temple. I picked up the cup of water on the coffee table and took a big gulp. The cold water slid down my throat. This hasn't quelled the anger in my chest. Instead, it makes me more agitated. I clench my fists tightly. My nails dig into my palms. I stare at the jade bracelet on Victoria's wrist in the photo. That was the family heirloom my grandmother held tightly before she passed away. Ryan once knelt by the hospital bed and vowed to protect it for generations. And now, it has become someone else's trophy to show off. Ryan, how dare you? I murmur to myself softly. My fingers tremble slightly. I gently trace the smiling face of that man on the screen. Memories of Ryan surge like a tide. They occupy my mind. That stormy night, the tender scene of Ryan making ginger soup for me flashes before my eyes. He cried on the floor when he went bankrupt, filled with regret. And once, on the operating table, he held my hand tightly. He said to me firmly, "In this lifetime, I will never let you down." Now I finally understand. All deep feelings are just a carefully planned lie. It turns out everything was just me overthinking. That night, Ryan came home late as usual. However, he seemed in a good mood today. I had just entered the house when he happily walked towards me. "Emily, that's great. I just signed a $300 million deal with the company. As long as everyone agrees at tomorrow's shareholders meeting, I can get the rebate, enough to pay off that huge debt." Speaking of which, Ryan's eyes sparkled like the stars in the sky. "You must have waited for me at home for a long time. I brought you a small cake." As Ryan said this, he placed the small cake on the coffee table. As he got closer, he finally noticed that I looked unwell. He just noticed that I looked unwell. He immediately frowned. He walked into the room with a hint of reproach. "Hold me in your arms. Emily, why do you look so unenergetic when I'm not around? You can't neglect your health like this." That's what I said. Ryan cupped my face. Frowning, he looked closely at me. He then said, "Look at yourself. You hardly slept last night, and you aren't even taking a proper nap today." I looked at Ryan's concerned expression. It felt particularly sincere. This reminded me of when we first got together 10 years ago. He was like this too. I can hardly believe this man has such good acting skills. Clearly, he has been with Victoria for a long time. How can he still act so naturally? It seems like he really cares about me. I pushed Ryan away. I originally wanted to clarify things with him. I looked into his eyes. My reflection was visible in them. It seemed like I was the only one in his eyes. My heart softened all of a sudden. I said to him, "Ryan, I've not been feeling well these past few days. Can you accompany me to the hospital?" I clearly saw a flash of concern in Ryan's eyes. He was just about to agree. Suddenly, the phone rang. I saw his phone screen light up. It displayed a contact with 3 characters. "It's Victoria." Ryan pushed me aside. He quickly walked to the next room to answer the call. I felt unwilling. I followed him. I happened to hear him accidentally hit the speakerphone button when he answered. "Dear, today is my birthday. You have to spend it with me. Victoria. Emily is sick. She's not feeling well. I haven't accompanied her for a long time. I promise you, from now on, I will be with you on every birthday. Just let me go and be with her this time." "Okay." I stood at the door, listening to their conversation. My heart grew colder and colder. I felt as if I had fallen into an abyss. How can Ryan say such indifferent words in such a plain tone? It's unacceptable. "Ryan, I specially prepared a gift for you. Haven't you always wanted to see me in that battle outfit?" She has already put on her clothes, and she even has cake on her. "Are you really planning to stay with her? Are you going to leave me alone? The shareholders have already made arrangements, even if you don't come with me. Are you really going to make those shareholders wait?" "Ryan, you are not usually indecisive. Procrastination can lead to problems. Continuing to eavesdrop is pointless now." My face has turned even paler. I sat down on the sofa in the living room. I stared blankly at the small cake Ryan brought. Until now, I'm still a bit indecisive. Staring blankly. Until now, I'm still a bit hesitant. Does Ryan still have me in his heart if he doesn't love me? Why did you bring me a small cake? But if you love me, how could you be entangled with Victoria again? He actually went so far as to deceive me and transferred all the debts to my name. I stared blankly at the small cake. I didn't notice that Ryan had finished the call. He came out of the room. I looked up, just in time to meet his gaze. I caught a hint of hesitation in his eyes. It was this brief hesitation that made my heart sink completely. It was almost shattered into pieces, as expected. He ultimately chose Victoria. "I'm really sorry. Emily, the shareholders' meeting is just too important. The leader suddenly called me just now. He said there are some details in the contract that haven't been verified. The shareholders' meeting is in an hour. I have to go. Usually, I am quite considerate. I would let Ryan focus on work, even though sometimes I am aware Ryan is using overtime as an excuse to meet with Victoria. I still maintain the appearance of a virtuous wife. I have never made any excessive or unreasonable demands of Ryan. But today, I suddenly want to know what Ryan really thinks of me. I stand up from the sofa. My body feels weak. Plus, I lost too much blood yesterday. My steps are a bit unsteady. Ryan notices that something is wrong with me. He quickly runs over to support me. I lean against his chest. I can feel his strong heartbeat. I feel a bit lost inside. Why? Why was he just chatting so intimately with Victoria? Now he can immediately come to support me before I fall. I lift my head. I see concern filling Ryan's eyes. His brow is tightly furrowed. His eyes are full of undeniable concern. His panic seems so real. There is not a hint of falsehood. If I didn't know that Ryan and Victoria have been secretly together for 5 years, I might still be deceived by his deep emotional display. Emily, you need to take good care of yourself. Don't make me worry, okay? I looked into Ryan's concerned eyes. I moved my lips slightly. I suddenly wanted to know. If I wanted Ryan to stay, what would he choose? Would he choose me or choose Victoria? The moment this thought crossed my mind, I couldn't help but overthink. I was eager to confirm this matter, so I tightly held onto Ryan's shoulders. I said weakly, Ryan, actually, I don't need to see a doctor. I simply miss you. We've been married for so long. You always leave me alone at home because of work. I really feel so lonely, so desolate. There are so many capable people in the company. Could you make an exception and ask the boss, stay with me for a while today? Is that okay? I'm holding Ryan. I can clearly feel his chest rising and falling with each heartbeat. I keep looking into his eyes. I also didn't miss the fleeting hesitation in his gaze, just as Ryan was hesitating when the words were on the tip of his tongue. His phone suddenly rang again. I was just about to say something. His phone's ringtone suddenly interrupted us. I clearly noticed his face suddenly stiffen. But Ryan's acting is indeed excellent. In an instant, he put on a smile. Smiling, he pushed me into the bedroom. Emily, you should rest first. There are still some matters to handle at the company. I'll take a call. After saying that, Ryan didn't wait for me to speak. He went straight to the guest room. I don't understand. He went to such great lengths to tell me about the debt. Why, just after divorcing me, did he immediately say the debt has been paid off? I'm a bit suspicious, although I feel he might not have good intentions. But I still walked to the door of the second bedroom. Ryan seems to trust me a lot. The door to the second bedroom is still open, but Emily's body. Those are just excuses to delay you. If she truly loves you, how could she stop you at this time? She doesn't understand our plan. Logically speaking, she should support you unconditionally. After all, you are attending the shareholders' meeting, securing the order. It poses no disadvantage to her. Ryan was silent for a while. Victoria continued speaking. Moreover, the old guys at the shareholders' meeting have been fooled. As long as you present Emily's consent letter, your debt can be transferred out. Ryan, are you really going to give up your previous efforts? Ryan was silent for a while. Finally, he spoke. Victoria, I won't let your efforts go to waste. 1 year ago, I tricked her into signing the consent form to become the company's legal representative. Now, listening to Ryan and Victoria's conspiracy in the second bedroom, I feel like I've fallen into an ice cellar. Debt transfer. Change of the company's legal representative. I am sincere towards Ryan, yet he treats me this way. Suddenly, I feel a heaviness in my chest. I can no longer eavesdrop, so I return to the master bedroom. My mood is as heavy as if I've lost all hope. Maybe Ryan doesn't understand my physical condition. Even so, facing that huge debt, I still willingly bear it with him. I don't understand why he insists on making me, someone who is barely holding on, bear this debt. Is it to clear himself of the debt, so he can marry Victoria cleanly? I don't understand. How can a person be so heartless and so cruel? Suddenly, my mind goes blank. There are two voices arguing in my heart. One voice says, anyway, I won't live much longer. It doesn't matter if I owe money. When a person dies, the debts are gone. Moreover, once married, 100 days of kindness. Helping him once before I die. There's nothing wrong with that. What if he has a little bit of conscience left? But another voice reminds me, Ryan has deceived me completely. I must take revenge on him. Anyway, I'm dying soon. I don't want to suffer this humiliation anymore. It's better to be liberated together, taking him down with me. At least I will have company on the road to the underworld. These two thoughts are fighting in my mind. Neither of them is backing down. I'm feeling tangled inside. My face is growing paler. I just entered the master bedroom. Ryan hung up the phone with Victoria. I noticed the hesitation in Ryan's eyes was completely gone. He held me in his arms, gently patted my back. Emily, stop messing around. You know I owe a lot of money. I need to work harder. I must complete the tasks assigned by my boss seriously. Only then can I pay off my debts sooner. Besides, the shareholders' meeting is crucial. There must be no mistakes. Emily, once the shareholders' meeting is over, I will pay off those high-interest loans. Then we can be together again. I promise you. As long as we are together again, I will be by your side every day. You need to be more rational. Stop messing around. Okay, when Ryan said this, his tone, gaze, and demeanor were particularly affectionate. He held me, as if he were holding a fragile porcelain piece, very carefully. What he said felt like warm sunshine. It should have made me feel at ease, but for some reason, my heart was completely shattered. Looking back now, I had repeatedly tested his attitude before, still lowering my standards time and again. All of this seems so ridiculous. Just now, I let him judge my actions and Victoria's. It's really a bit confusing. Ryan looked at me without any reaction. He thought I was just throwing a tantrum. He simply held me gently. He patted my back. Then he gave me a kiss on the forehead. Not too light, not too heavy. After that, he didn't look at me again. He walked straight out of the house, without looking back. Once Ryan left, this once warm home, at this moment made me feel a chill. I looked around this cozy little place. Every corner holds beautiful memories of me and Ryan. In the past, whenever Ryan betrayed me, I always relied on those beautiful memories to get through tough days. But now, looking at these small items that represent our memories, I only feel they are blinding, feeling nauseous. My 10 years ultimately went to waste. A sudden metallic taste filled my mouth. Everything went black in front of me. I almost fainted. Fortunately, I quickly leaned against the wall beside me. Otherwise, I would have fallen to the ground. When I came to my senses, everything around me was pitch black. I took a few deep breaths. I felt a bit of strength return to my body. Then I turned on the living room light. I looked around. The things that once held beautiful memories were still there, but I had already made a decision in my heart. These things seemed no longer needed. I was about to smash the sculpture doll that Ryan and I had painted together. Suddenly, my phone rang incessantly. I opened the unread messages. I found that Victoria had sent a series of videos. Just seeing the thumbnails of these videos made me feel a bit nauseous. But I was still very curious. What exactly did she want me to see? I clicked on the first video. I opened the first video. I saw Ryan and Victoria close together. They looked very engaged. Ryan, do you love me? Dear, I love you so much. I can't imagine life without you. I'm struggling to hold back the feeling of nausea. I watched the first video from start to finish, but I still overestimated my ability to cope. I just finished watching the first video and felt a wave of nausea. That's the outfit Ryan was wearing when he left this morning. He lied to me, saying there was a problem with the contract. He had to rush to the company to make changes. In reality, he went to meet Victoria privately. I scrolled through the chat history. I saw a photo sent by Victoria. In the photo, Ryan is lying in her arms. Neither of them is wearing a shirt. Then, she sent another text message. Emily, you and Ryan are not suitable for each other at all. If you have any self-awareness, you should leave early. I turned off my phone. I don't want to see anything that makes me uncomfortable. At that moment, my mood slowly became resolute. Indeed, everything in this house should not be kept. When Ryan betrayed me 5 years ago, I should have smashed them all. I smashed them one by one. It's already bright outside. My phone rang again. The hospital sent a message. They urged me to go for a follow-up, and there's a message from Victoria. I haven't read it yet. I don't want to get myself into trouble. I took a taxi straight to the hospital. After completing a full checkup, the nurse told me very seriously, my cervix has already undergone cancerous changes. The egg retrieval surgery caused serious harm to my body. I have less than a month left to live. The doctor said, if the uterus is removed, there's a 50% chance to stop the cancer from worsening. I thought about it and decided to give it a try. A 50% chance. It's worth taking a gamble. To make my life have some meaning, I signed the general consent form at the hospital before being taken into the operating room. I received several messages from Victoria, facing the impending death. I actually felt less afraid. I opened the chat history. I saw a selfie of Victoria in her wedding dress. Then came a series of messages she sent. Emily, Ryan never needed someone like you who is not of high status. Ryan has paid off all his debts. This is the wedding dress he gave me. We are going to get our marriage certificate today. I looked at her smug expression. My heart was filled with mixed feelings. I originally thought I would be angry, but instead, I felt more curious. If Ryan found out I sold my eggs to help him pay off his debts, and ultimately lost my life because of it, what would he think? Would he regret choosing Victoria? Thinking of this, I decided to make a call before going into the operating room. Ryan's phone rang for half a minute before he answered. As soon as the call connected, Ryan's voice came through. He sounded a bit out of breath. He still sounded a bit impatient. Emily, let's talk about this when we get home. Ryan was about to hang up without a word. I quickly said, Ryan, I went to the hospital for an examination. It turned out to be cervical cancer. I'm already at the door of the operating room. I might die. On the other end of the phone, there was a long silence. 3 full minutes passed. Then Ryan coldly said, Emily, this joke isn't funny at all. There was a problem at the shareholders' meeting. I'll handle it and come back. If you truly care about me, you wouldn't take my health lightly, trying to get my attention this way. You can do as you see fit. After saying that, Ryan hung up the phone. Regarding his reaction, I wasn't too surprised. It was somewhat unexpected, yet it also seemed quite reasonable. I put down my phone. I nodded to the nurse. I'm ready to face everything. A hint of sympathy flashed in the nurse's eyes. She then administered general anesthesia to me. As my consciousness gradually faded, I seemed to see myself covered with sterile cloth, preparing for surgery. It seems I wasn't very lucky. A 50-50 chance. I lost the bet because my physical condition was too poor. The doctor had just finished removing my uterus. I started to bleed heavily. Only half an hour had passed. I completely stopped breathing. The doctor recorded my time of death. Then the Body Donation Association came to collect my body. They looked at my young but weary body. All silently mourned for me. In their silence, I felt my body getting lighter, slowly drifting out of the hospital room. I don't know if it's because of my deep obsession. I felt as if my body was slowly drifting towards a place. Very soon, I recognized where that place was. I saw Ryan looking distracted in the dress shop. Victoria lifted the hem of her wedding dress. She was trying hard to attract Ryan's attention. Half an hour ago, I had already been hospitalized and hung up the phone. I was feeling a bit irritable. He doesn't like it when I joke about my own body, but for some reason, since hanging up the phone, he has been feeling uneasy, especially when Victoria hugged him. That feeling of unease became even stronger. Ryan looked at Victoria in front of him. His mind wandered a bit. He thought Emily was even prettier than Victoria when she was young. Emily would never do something so inappropriate like this. In the wedding dress shop, after Ryan hung up my call, he unconsciously started comparing Victoria to me. The more he compared, the more uneasy he felt. In the end, he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't help but push Victoria away, grabbed his coat and left the dress shop. Victoria shouted, Ryan, you promised to help me choose a wedding dress. Her voice gradually faded away. I was pulled into that Porsche Cayenne by Ryan, watching him start the car with the keys. That's when I realized. It turned out this car was his. Ryan pressed the gas pedal to the floor and drove home at top speed. Ryan arrived at the front door. I felt a bit hesitant to open the door. He stood there. He took a full 5 minutes to prepare himself mentally. Only then did he muster the courage to open the door. As soon as the door opened, he was stunned, standing still in place. He stood there. The scene before him was chaotic, especially the wedding photo torn in half at the door. It left him momentarily at a loss. He murmured to himself, Emily, where are you? Stop messing around. Your husband is back to be with you. Where are you? Ryan's voice is becoming increasingly shaky. I found it a bit amusing to listen to, so I followed him, seeing Ryan realize that all the memories of us in the house had been destroyed by me. His slow breakdown. I couldn't help but laugh. Emily, if you keep causing trouble like this, I'm really going to get angry. Ryan turned the house upside down, but he couldn't find me. Instead, he saw every room in a complete mess because of me. He started shouting, feeling more and more anxious inside. He quickly took out his phone and dialed my number. The phone rang 3 times, and the other party picked up. Emily, where have you been? What happened to the house? As soon as the call connected, Ryan immediately started questioning. Hello, Mr. Ryan. Are you Emily's ex-husband? I am the head of gynecology in City A. Emily has been diagnosed with cervical cancer. She died from excessive bleeding during the surgical removal of her uterus. She told me earlier, if I receive your call, let me pass these words on to you. Ryan immediately became anxious. Emily, is this really interesting to you? You even found an actor to play me, the doctor said helplessly. Mr. Ryan, we would never joke with a patient's life. Ryan hurriedly hung up the phone and immediately prepared to rush to the hospital. At that moment, he happened to run into Victoria, who was rushing over. Victoria asked him, Ryan, how could you leave me alone at the bridal shop? Before Victoria could finish her words, Ryan suddenly pushed her away forcefully and quickly got into the Porsche Cayenne. He slammed the accelerator and sped away. I followed behind him. I saw my body soaking in formalin and witnessed Ryan completely breaking down. He stumbled back home. He found Victoria wearing my clothes, busy in the kitchen. This scene made Ryan lose control of his emotions instantly. He shouted loudly. He rushed over and forcibly tore the clothes off Victoria. What right do you have to wear Emily's clothes? He questioned angrily. Then, I noticed she was wearing my family's heirloom on her wrist, so I yanked the bracelet off forcefully. Victoria felt pain. Her gentle facade finally couldn't hold up anymore. She shouted loudly, This is my stuff. What right do you have to take it away? This belongs to Emily. What right do you have to want Emily's things? Victoria is different from me. She won't obey Ryan just because she likes him. I saw her rush over and scratch Ryan's face. Ryan instantly lost his sanity. He immediately attacked her. Victoria gradually lost her breath from his blows. Blood slowly pooled on the ground. The torn wedding photo. It has my half on it, now stained red with her blood. Ryan gritted his teeth. His hands trembled. He knelt down, wiping the part of the photo stained with Victoria's blood with his sleeve. As he wiped, he finally couldn't hold back his tears. I'm sorry. Emily, it's all my fault. Will you come back and see me? Can you give me another chance? Seeing Ryan's regretful expression, the pent-up frustration in my heart slowly dissipated. I felt myself getting lighter, slowly drifting towards the sky. Ryan, I will not forgive you, nor will I give you any chances. I want you to carry this regret for a lifetime, to live forever in pain.